Can you tell me what is your experience as governor now for what, over a year now?
It's almost been a year. You know, it's been a lot of learning, and it's certainly serving at one of the. Got to start over there. Will you cut it?
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, okay. Got to start over there. Will you cut it?
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, okay. Well, I've been really, really busy, of course, you know, taking over at a time when we were facing the largest crisis in the state of Arizona, you know. Go on my Facebook page.
Do you have a Facebook page? Oop.
I will now sign Senate Bill 1070.
Critics of Arizona's newly signed immigration bill say it allows police to stop anyone on the street based purely on the person's appearance. They call it discrimination, unconstitutional, if you will, an attack on civil liberties, if you must. Here's Governor Brewer's response when asked by a reporter what an illegal immigrant looks like.
I do not know. I do not know what an illegal immigrant looks like. I can tell you that I think that there are people in Arizona that assume they know what an illegal immigrant looks like. I don't know.
Our old buddy, Judge Napolitano, who says that this is East Germany and the antebellum South all in one. And he joins us now. What does that mean?
It means that the state of Arizona has given the police the power to stop anyone they want on the basis of the way they look, even though the Constitution and federal law prohibits that. And the state of Arizona has created a crime unique to Arizona, which is being present illegally in the state of Arizona. Being in the U.S. illegally is not a crime. It's not a basis for the...
But Judge, you just said being in the country illegally is not against the rules?
No, I said it's not a crime.
What about the illegal part?
Illegal means a violation of an administrative regulation, which says you have to have papers on you. Right. But it's not a crime. You don't get prosecuted for it.
But they are breaking the rules by being in the country illegally.
Correct. But that's not a basis to stop and arrest anyone. Think about it. The police are going to stop somebody on the basis of where they look and say, I think you're here illegally. Give me your papers. And then he has to say, by the way, you have a right to remain silent. You don't have to answer me. So what's going to be accomplished by this other than police stopping people, whoever they want to stop?
In America, when the government is pursuing you for any reason, whether it's a traffic ticket or a felony, the defendant, the person the government is pursuing, doesn't have to prove anything. The government always has the burden of coming forward. This Arizona statute takes that fundamental principle of Western jurisprudence and turns it on its head.
You're making some great points, Judge. You know, in fairness to the authors of the law, one, I understand their motivations. I don't question that. And two, if you have to have lawful contact, so there has to be some other pretext, some other violation of the law. But then if they have a reasonable suspicion that the person doesn't have their documents. Now, this isn't an act. This is a status. How do you have reasonable suspicion? Right. You know, Judge, there are over 10 million Hispanic immigrants in this country who are here perfectly legally. Most of them are actually naturalized U.S. citizens, other legal permanent residents. What signal does this send to them? All of a sudden, they've got to be carrying their papers, kind of an internal passport system.
What would happen? What would happen
4 million Mexican? Go ahead.
What would happen to the economy if the immigrants who are here legally and illegally were not permitted to work or not permitted to be here? What would happen almost overnight?
It would be crippling, and especially to Arizona. 1 out of 10 workers in Arizona is undocumented. They need these workers, and I don't buy this that they're pushing Americans out of jobs. You go back just 2 years ago in Arizona, when they actually had 100,000 more immigrants. 100,000 of these illegal immigrants have left in the last 2 years because of the economy. If you go back 2 years, they had an unemployment rate below 4%. They were helping to build Arizona's economy. So it would be an economic disaster for the state if all 400,000 or so of them left. And you know, Judge, one other thing too, the rhetoric surrounding this bill is very disturbing. They are blaming hundreds of thousands of peaceful, hardworking immigrants for a crime wave in Arizona.
Right.
And yes, there have been some terrible crimes, but you look at the overall crime rate in Arizona, it's the lowest it's been in 40 years.
Very interesting.
Decade,
that the government
last decade, the violent crime rate's down 23%.
It's very interesting that the crime rate is down, but the government would actually try to blame crime on an ethnic group when there's absolutely no evidence for it whatsoever. Dan Griswold, thank you very much for joining us.
Thank you.
Maybe
Travel Arizona.
There are millions of years in each step.
Arizona.
We stepped outside for some fresh air, and it became our second wind.
Arizona.
Wide open landscape and lots.
Arizona. It's not for everybody.
From the Arizona Office of Tourism, come for the barren desert wasteland. Stay for the hospitality.
Kirsten. Good evening, Patty. The husband is a commercial truck driver. He was pulled over this morning, as he says, at Val Vista and the 202 at a weight scale check stop. He was then asked to show his documents. He handed over his commercial vehicle's driver's license and provided a social security number. But apparently, according to him, that wasn't enough.
And then he came back and he said, well, I need your birth certificate. And then I said, it's in my house.
And that's when Abden says officers handcuffed him, placing him in a van, transporting him here to the Immigration and Customs Enforcement building in Phoenix off Central Avenue. His wife Jackie says she was contacted and told to retrieve Abden's birth certificate. An hour back to Maricopa, where she retrieved his and her documents just in case, showing us Abden was born in Fresno, California. Relieved to be out of that building, the two of them still remain baffled at the encounter.
I don't think it's correct if I have to take my birth certificate with me all the times. I don't think that...
When we were in Nazi Germany back in that day, and the police... Hold on, let me finish. Let me finish.
No, let's talk about the bill.
When send this
so
stuff to
whose
Homeland
immigration
Security,
status would we care about if they're not illegal?
Here's what's going to happen. It's going to...
How do you know if they're illegal until you run their...
illegal until you run their ID.
Okay, this doesn't talk about running their ID.
So if you get an American citizen walking down the street and they're pulled over by the police and they say, give me your papers, I don't have my papers, now what?
They arrest you, take you downtown, and identify you.
I will now sign Senate Bill 10-7.
Let's talk at the time.
My brothers and sisters, it's time to ride. Arizona, the revolution will be televised. Oh, you thought we were just gonna sit back and not say nothing? Well, guess what? You push us, we push back then. They say the strength in numbers. Well, I brought a few friends with me, and we got something.
No one give me chance for survival, yeah. And when I see Sheriff Joe, he swat to put him face on the floor. To all my people in the struggle who just trying to get. To all my people in the struggle who are trying to live. To all my people in the struggle who just want to survive. To all my people in the struggle, put your hands to the sky and say, trust me, I want to be the pressure. The Mexicans and niggas when we become the aggressor. So we must find a way to unite and make them the lesser. Then it would take the whole damn world to arrest us. No, you don't want test us or offend us or upset us. Or we'll find a way to remind you that life is precious. See, we just want our freedom and the right to find success in the land of the free and the place where God bless. Really not sick.
Okay. So now y'all see where we go with this. Drastic times call for drastic measures. We will be heard by any means necessary. So now it's time to move.
Watching, let me take you down to AZ. These shady politicians making laws like they crazy. They call it 1070, I'll tell you what it is. A bunch of racial profiling cause the color of your skin. They say it won't happen cause it's written in the law. Man, I'm sitting here laughing thinking you are so wrong. Think about it for a second, we already getting profiled. But now they made it legal so these cops about to go wild. Reason of suspicion is the brown color skin. Cops giving so much power so you really can't win. Now who's gonna stop them? And that's the real problem. Get these clowns out of office cause nobody wants me.
How we just sitting back waiting, patient as they cast us out like Satan. I'm debating hard as racial people slurs a statement. Just be patient as I deliver my statement. As I walk through the valley of the shadow of races, Armado with the whole army of brown faces. They trying to take us out but they never will replace us. You gonna fuck around and get beat some new cases. I'm an AZ native, tell me why they hate it. They trying to lock us up and throw away the key and slave us. Pull us over and ask us for our legal documentation. But I'ma flip the out and leave them on the pavement. I'm hating every politician in the nation. You facing the biggest war in the nation, including every brown, black, white, brother and Haitian. And it's a problem. Remember our faces, calmado.